Thank you so much, Jonathan. Good morning, everybody. The Health Research Authority, the HRA, was established in December 2011 with a really strong base of support across all stakeholder groups. So let me start by saying how much I appreciate what you as stakeholders have already done to give life to the ambitions that we share for health research, and that you have made it a priority to attend today's event. And it's appropriate that we gather here in the Royal College of Physicians with its distinguished history of promoting ethical clinical practice, going back, if you look at the museum upstairs, going back nearly 500 years to its foundation by King Henry VIII. It was a committee appointed by the Royal College that in 1967 published its report recommending the establishment of research ethics committees. And alongside their consideration of ethical matters, the Royal College's committee made this comment: it is of great importance that clinical investigation should be free to proceed without unnecessary interference and delay. So there you have, in embryo, the two essential imperatives at the heart of the work that the HRA and its partners do: to protect and promote the interests of patients and the public in health research, and to build and develop a healthy and supportive research environment. The need to make the research environment even better has been stressed by many, many stakeholders, including researchers and funders, and not least, of course, the life sciences industry itself. And this sector is crucial to the nation's future economic growth. It currently comprises around 4,500 firms, it employs 165,000 people, it has a research spend of nearly £5 billion and an annual turnover of over 50 billion. And the industry has long reported that an overly bureaucratic approval process in a highly competitive global market serves to do one thing and one thing only, which is to drive research abroad. The government commissioned an independent review of health research regulation from the Academy of Medical Sciences, which concluded, and I quote, that the government's arrangements in NHS trusts are the single greatest barrier to health research. So, the government subsequently announced in the Plan for Growth in March 2011 that the HRA would be set up in order to promote compliance standards that are consistent and proportionate, and to create a unified approval process for health research. The HRA has developed, presented a business case for implementing and operating the elements of a unified approval process that would resolve the current duplication and inefficiency involving NHS providers. And this will remove duplication on a number of levels. It will remove duplication between providers where they repeat each other's checks, and between providers and research ethics committees, where providers repeat the checks that have already been done and are legally the responsibility of research ethics committees. The government wants to see rapid progress on delivering the unified approval process, and there's widespread support for this, as I'm sure I don't need to tell you, among stakeholders and in Parliament, where I've been pressed pretty hard. So, I am pleased to announce today that the government will provide an additional investment of over £4.5 million in 2014-15 to enable the HRA to take forward this important work. This will reduce the burden on the NHS and on researchers and research sponsors. It will improve the speed and consistency of decisions about research proposals, and it will make it more cost-effective to deliver research in this country to the benefit of patients and the public. I look forward to hearing about the HRA's progress in delivering the unified approval process. That unified approval process will also help to release providers to focus on what only they can do. The government also wishes to see a dramatic and sustained improvement in the performance of providers of NHS services in the initiation and the delivery of clinical research. This will increase the number of patients who have the opportunity to participate in research, and it will enhance in the process the nation's attractiveness as a host for research. The National Institute for Health Research, the NIHR, has implemented changes to new NIHR contracts to make providers accountable for transparent performance in starting and delivering health research. Since the autumn 2011, all new NIHR contracts with providers of NHS services have included requirements on the time limits with which all clinical trials are undertaken. Initial requirements are about reporting performance on the time that it takes from receipt of a valid application to the recruitment of the first patient to clinical trials. And for commercial clinical trials, on recruitment to time and target. From next month, those requirements will be included in contracts for activities for the reconfigured NIHR clinical research network. So this will see transparency and accountability of research performance extend across the NHS. The Department of Health recently sought views from interested organisations about how the contract requirements are best taken forward to help achieve the stated aims and provide a fair and transparent basis for assessing providers' performance. The department will be clarifying separately what action it will take, including how performance will affect NIHR funding. Now, I'm very keen to take the opportunity of today's event to speak about transparency in clinical trials and other clinical studies. The government recognises the vital contribution the NHRA is already making and must continue to make to promoting greater transparency in research. During the passage of the Care Bill through Parliament, the government has made the Health Research Authority's role in this more explicit. And again, I was pressed very, very hard on that point. Transparency in relation to the publication of research findings has been the subject of considerable debate for several years. The Commons Science and Technology Committee inquiry into clinical trials heard evidence from major research funders and the pharmaceutical industry, and of course Ben Goldacre, who's campaigned for the publication of clinical trials on the All Trials website. As many of you will already be aware, the government supports the European Commission's proposal for greater transparency under the new clinical trials regulation, and that will provide a clear legal basis for public access to an EU database, both for trial documentation and the results of clinical trials conducted across the EU. These developments and the establishment of the HRA have led to calls for the HRA to lead in defining a set of proposals to improve transparency in health research. And this goes with the grain of what good research is all about. Researchers are driven by a desire to enhance our knowledge and understanding of the world, And an integral part of that is ensuring that their findings are communicated. So I welcome the HRA's recognition that transparency in research is essential so that treatment and care are informed by the highest quality research, and at the same time the public is protected from unnecessary research. Greater transparency will increase the already high levels of confidence in the quality of UK-based research. The HRA's requirement for registration as a condition of favourable ethical opinion and its publication of the summary and ethical opinion of all health research approved by its ethics committee are undoubtedly significant steps forward towards achieving all of this. The HRA now has an opportunity to develop further its national role over the coming months through its ongoing work with partners in developing standards for publication and dissemination. And this will allow it to ensure that research findings are available so that the public, clinicians and commissioners of healthcare can all benefit and learn from the best available evidence. I know that in implementing its plans and developing them, the HRA is ever mindful of the need to ensure that measures are proportionate and sensible. Given the overwhelming support for the transparency agenda, I expect that the vast majority of researchers and sponsors and funders will embrace the plans. It's appropriate, perhaps, to reflect that each of us and each of our families has gained immeasurably from the application of health research in our daily lives. We must continue to build on that tradition to meet the demands of the present day and for the sake of future generations. The HRA has an important role in leading and coordinating activity in the UK to support success, to create a culture of openness, and to challenge behaviours and opinions that present barriers to transparency. Today marks the end of the first full year of operation for the new health and social care system. At the core of that system lies research. Following recent consultation on its draft research and development strategy, NHS England is developing an action plan for co-production with partners for the next iteration of the strategy. NHS England is striving to ensure that the patient and public voice is central to this, and it's therefore establishing shared objectives and a joint plan overseen by a reference group in collaboration with the NIHR National Director for Public Participation and Engagement in Research. The 2014-15 NHS Standard Contract includes for the first time important conditions regarding research. This is a potentially pivotal development because all commissioners are mandated by NHS England to use the standard contract for all healthcare services other than primary care. In addition, the NHS planning guidance issued for the next 5 years highlights the importance of research to commissioners as a means of delivering high quality care for all. I think this is good news all round. But let me conclude with some brief observations. The country's need for health research and all the impact that it delivers is enormous. There's been great strides forward in preventing, diagnosing and treating the big killer diseases, but tackling premature death remains a priority. The rising incidence of dementia presents an enormous challenge, and to help meet it, the government is doubling dementia research investment. All of this would not be possible without everything that you are contributing and achieving as stakeholders in health research. And with the additional funding that I've announced today, the Health Research Authority stands, I believe, at the threshold of a new and very exciting phase of its work. Our vision for health research is ambitious. I am very confident, however, that we can achieve it. Thank you very much.